Coast, as well as a live video stream on coastsportstoday.com and the Coast Sports Today Facebook page. And we're excited to get going. We will have some representation from every high school boys and girls basketball program in Cape May County on this show. We will have almost all of them on location. We will have one coach just over the phone calling in, but very excited to be here to get this season started. The regular season begins on Friday. Teams are in the midst of their preseason practices and scrimmages. They'll finish up their scrimmage schedules this week, and then everybody opens basically by the weekend, if not on Friday. So first up, as we get right into it, is the girls program from Ocean City High School, and we appreciate them coming down here. They got a little bit further to go than the rest of the people involved here. And we have a first-year head coach, although certainly not a first-year coach. He's been involved here at Ocean City for a long time, in Mike Capoletti, and we appreciate you being here. And you have one of your seniors in Taylor Wenner that will join us, and a couple of your other girls that we'll have you introduce as well. So thanks for coming on with us. And
thanks for having us. We're excited to be here, and obviously we love being a part of the Cape Atlantic.
Tell us about your team and what the transition's been like. You coached under Paul Baruffi, who had obviously a lot of success, and now you're the head coach. And how's that been going? The couple weeks of practice that you've had so far?
Things have been going, pretty good. Obviously, being under Paul Baruffi was a great tutorial. Fantastic coach, in my opinion, one of the best to do it down in South Jersey here. So, him not being around has been, I've been missing him a little bit. We had a pretty tight relationship. But, moving forward, like I said, I had a pretty good template to work with, and we both worked together so much that, he included me in so much that I felt moving forward it'd be a smooth transition. And go ahead.
So Taylor, we're probably going. This is going to be a theme that we're going to ask all the kids about, most likely, throughout this entire show. Is, I know you hope you're going to get a full season in here. Last year was so shortened and very strange. And what's it like to go back to starting practice around Thanksgiving and getting going now, as opposed to the third week of January like last year?
Well, obviously it was a little bit different. We started in the middle of January, and this year we started on normal time. But we're still taking all precautions to be so that we can get through our full season. That's our one goal this season, is to get through the season, be healthy, be safe, and keep our masks up, all the stuff to get through the season.
Okay, so Coach, tell us a little bit about your team. Well, first, you have some of your players here behind you, so why don't you introduce them?
We were fortunate enough to be able to bring a couple girls today. We did invite more, but this is who made it. Again, we have Taylor Wenner, our senior. We have Madeline Adamson, freshman, who's going to contribute some minutes for us this year. Returning starter Avery Jackson, and sophomore Hannah Capoletti, who was able to contribute some varsity minutes last year. As a whole, I'll start. We do have two seniors, Taylor Wenner and Maren Panico was unable to be here today. As a whole, we're probably a younger group, and with the way things went last year, experience is going to be something that we're going to have to grow up on early in the season, and I'm looking for the girls to step up and do that, and getting out of the gate pretty quickly with.
You have I guess the good situation for you is a lot of times when a head coach leaves, it's when a big senior group graduates and you kind of have to start over. You don't have to do that. Your two leading scorers are back. Avery averaged about 10 points a game last year. Maren averaged 9.5.
Yep.
So that's got to make a big difference that you have, even though you're still on the younger side, you have a little bit of experience in this group that you're bringing back.
Absolutely, and that's what I hope to get from some of those girls that have done it in the past here to help these other girls grow up quickly. Nothing's going to – go ahead, buddy.
No, but I'm sorry, Mike. Coach, I didn't mean to cut you off, but that is a point that I was going to also talk about. Having Avery Jackson now stepping up, going to be a junior. Mm-hmm. She was one of your leading scorers last year.
Yes.
Panico was another one of your leading scorers last year. So that's going to make it a little bit smoother. And then you had the freshman who's now a sophomore.
Correct.
By the name of Capoletti.
Yes.
I'm not going to say there's any relation.
Maybe.
She averaged about 5 points a game. Mm-hmm. So, it's nice to know that you're going to have some girls that can come back and smooth that offensive transition.
And that's what we're hoping for. You know, we certainly have some pieces in place, and you know, we just want to stay humble and just make sure we get a good chemistry between our team. You know, we're going to try to get as many out there as possible, and obviously still try to have as much success while we're doing those things.
Now, I ask all the girls and yourself. Talk about the legacy and the tradition at Ocean City High School. I mean, you guys are known year in, year out as not just contenders, as favorites. I mean, the program has always been outstanding under Coach Baruffi. Coach Capoletti is also, you know, he was strong there as his number one assistant. So talk a little bit about wanting to continue that, you know, that tradition at Ocean City.
Want me to do it? Okay.
So as a freshman, I walked in and played against a lot of the really good players that taught me how to be part of the Ocean City basketball team. And going through the system,
and this is Taylor Wenner.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It really showed me what it was like to be an Ocean City player for girls basketball. And throughout that, especially now as I'm becoming an upperclassman and now I'm a senior, I've tried to incorporate their ways of how they did stuff throughout the season into how I do stuff through the season. And it was awesome to look up to as a freshman. So I know me and Marin, and I know Avery and Ayana and Maddie Mott, who haven't been here or could not make it, but I know we're all trying to get to a point where Madeline, who's a freshman, can look up to us and then further the program from that point.
Coach, I want to ask you about this. Yes, Tori Vliet. Yes, I know you wanted to mention her. Conferences are all changed now. You know, it's kind of strange, quite frankly, and I know you're going to play them anyway, but how Ocean City and Mainland aren't in the same conference perplexes me. Mm-hmm. But this is the way the league did it. Right. But you're in a division with Pleasantville, Vineland, Holy Spirit, Cedar Creek, Cape May Tech, Atlantic Tech. You open Friday at Holy Spirit. Where do you see yourselves fitting in the division? Do you feel like you can compete there?
Hey, we're not really going to be, making a whole lot of predictions. Our goal is to show up each and every day and try to achieve our potential. I tell the girls we don't talk about records. We try not to talk about wins and losses in practice. We talk about every day making sure that we get better as a group. And you're only successful as the person that's sitting next to you. The girls hear that every single day. And I feel like as long as we take care of those things, everything else is going to take care of itself.
Specifically, though, the game with Holy Spirit, that's a program that is on the rise. They were very good. Mm-hmm. They kind of fell off a little bit, and now it seems like with Timmy Whitworth there, he's really building something. Right. What are the challenges for that opening night game?
Just getting started. Obviously a lot of people won't know what each team's all about just yet. We have an idea from seeing teams play in their style in the past, or whether it's from summer league and seeing them play too. But things change over the course of the fall. How much the girls were able to play, and whatever changes that he's made, which I'm sure he may have made over time. And the same thing with us. So it's a matter of adjustment in that first game to see how it's going to play out. And I think coaches being able to make adjustments in that game is going to be key.
Taylor, for you, do you play other sports at Ocean City as well?
Yeah, I play lacrosse.
Okay, so this program, one of the things that's been unique about Ocean City through the years is that a lot of times when you see a really, really good high school basketball program, it's filled with kids that just play basketball. Ocean City's never really been about that, and you guys all seem to play multiple sports, 2 and 3 sports. How much does that help in terms of what it does for you on the basketball floor as a group?
Honestly, lacrosse and basketball, I consider them very similar, with a bigger amount of people in the lacrosse field and a bigger field. But I think that the IQ of having other sports behind you and under your belt just helps in any sport. I know all 3 of these girls sitting behind me, they all play other sports. So I know it helps in every aspect.
Brian, that's one of the things that, from both of our perspectives, coaching on the high school level, I actually admire and I love the fact when kids play multiple sports. I was never that guy that says you can only play basketball. And it's very impressive when I look at the Ocean City girls roster and see that, I mean, and not just play other sports. I mean, you guys are all stars, and it's the same thing with like the Middle Township girls. I mean, and I find that to be incredible. And you know what? Kudos to you guys, because I'm not going to put you on the spot, but I'm sure you're all honor students as well.
Taylor, what's there's got to be a healthy competition too, because the one thing that, I mean, I think people have gotten to the point where they shake their head at the amount of success that your teams have at your school. It seems like every team is very, very competitive, if not championship caliber, whether it's field hockey, girls soccer, girls lacrosse, basketball, swimming. So cross country as well, and baseball. You know, I'm out, but stay with the girl sports. But you know, look at, and in the football team, of course. What is it like to have that kind of an athletic environment at your school where everybody does so well?
Honestly, we all stay humble about it. We go about our day, we go to practice, we work hard, we compete against each other so that we can compete against other teams. And the way that the programs run, we like to be happy, put smiles on our faces, be humble, and just work hard.
Okay, Mike, you know, your final thoughts here, you know, before we let you guys go and go to a break. You know, and we're dealing with it again, this COVID issue. We're seeing some teams shut down. Scrimmages have been canceled. But, you know, as a coach and someone who's been involved in it, especially for the seniors, how much are you looking forward to hopefully having as full of a season as possible?
I'm looking forward to trying to do our best to get the 24, 25 games in. The girls, as soon as we started the first day in tryouts, I told them first and utmost goal for us is to stay healthy. I go through daily what we need to do to make sure that we can control that to the best of our ability, making wise decisions. And I really do want, because I know last year a lot of people didn't get the experience that they deserve to have when they're in their youth. And it's an unfortunate situation that we're in right now. I just hope everybody is, you know, trying to do the right thing moving forward so that the kids really get, because that's what it's about at the end of the day, that they get the experience that they deserve, especially for our present seniors and even kids last year that didn't get quite out of the, you know, the experience that they should have gotten as well.
Mike Capelletti, first-year head coach at Ocean City, one of his seniors, Taylor Wenner, and the other girls. We thank you guys for coming. And yes, best of. You're welcome.
You best of luck.
Thank you. Best of luck this season to you guys, and we'll definitely be seeing you on the way. So that is the Ocean City Girls program. We'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with Jon Bruno, the head coach of the Ocean City Boys program, right after this short commercial break on 98.7 The Coast.
Thanks for having us, man.
and Brewery in downtown Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton, Chris Knoll handling the live video stream on CoastSportsToday.com. This is the Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball preview show. We did this 2 years ago. We had a lot of fun with it. Obviously, last year we couldn't do it because of the COVID situation. We've brought it back, and so happy to have all the participation from all of the coaches. And we thank the Ocean City girls and Mike Capoletti for coming on to kick off the show. And now it's Jon Bruno, the head coach of the Ocean City boys program, joining us. And Coach, thanks for coming down on a Sunday afternoon.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. Before we get started, Buddy and Brian, I want to thank you both for doing what you do as far as not just today, but for what you guys do all year long for us. I appreciate it. I know the kids appreciate it, and parents and fans appreciate it too. So thank you guys very much for all you do.
Thank you, and it's our pleasure for everyone to allow us to do this. So last year, in the shortened COVID year, you guys actually had a nice season, 8-1, I think you finished, and but you lost an awful lot of players from that team, and a couple of other kids that are big-time college athletes in other sports decided not to play this year, so you're going to field a very young team, aren't you?
To say the least. Yeah, we did expect a couple of kids to be here that aren't with us, and for their credit, they have other aspirations, and nobody could tell kids what they want to do, but we'll miss, by name, it's Tommy Finnegan and Patrick Grimley, but both are stellar other sport athletes, and everybody goes back and forth with the discussion of multi-sport versus one, but when kids make their own decision, that's their choice, and I respect that, and they just got to coach the kids that you get. So to answer your question originally, yes, we're going to be very young.
So, and one of your young players that I know you were high on, it's a kid by the name of Corey Segich, who is, I believe he's out till January with an injury, correct? And I know you're expecting him to be a nice player.
Kickball is kind of dangerous sport.
I heard about this.
Watch out for that kickball.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll be out till well after, hopefully after the first of the year. So it's really given other kids an opportunity. You know, when you say next man up, you definitely know when you don't have the players, somebody who does have to step up, and that's what we're looking forward to, for some kids to develop over the first couple of weeks of the season. As we develop into the season, everything's going to be a constant change. It's probably an understatement to say we're a work in progress, because I'm still trying to figure out what their roles were, because with those other kids, their roles were different, and now all of a sudden I've got to figure out what's their new role.
And John, I mean, this is, an obvious question, and there's not always an obvious answer, except other guys are going to need to step up. How do you replace Gannon Brady?
You don't. It's as simple as you don't. What you do is you try to get a lot of guys to do a little more.
Right.
And last year, I thought what made our team very successful was everybody bought into that Gannon was going to score some points, and anything they could do to help would be a benefit. Now those same kids are going to have to be the guys who step up. So what we really have to do is we really have to understand that we have different roles, and we have to excel in each of those roles. And no one's going to be a major scorer. At least I don't feel that way now.
Right.
But we're certainly capable of each kid scoring 8 to 10 points at any given moment, and that's what we're really going to have to do. But I'll miss watching Gannon play. Not only as a coach, but as a fan, I'll miss watching him play.
Absolutely.
Like 2 years ago, and that was one of the strengths. There were games when we would cover games, or just games in general. You never knew who the leading scorer was going to be because it was so well balanced. I mean, you had, I think you had 5 guys averaging on double figures.
And in a way, buddy, that's what I think this year's going to have to be. Now, the double figure may not be that much, but you're right. I think we're going to have a lot of guys scoring anywhere between 8 and 10. We're going to need that. And I think they understand that. That's the key. And what's interesting early in the year with a young team is watching them try to figure it out. We're so concerned about running our offense in our scrimmages that nobody thought about scoring, because they were so concerned about, I need to make the pass or I need to do this, when I tell them all the time, go do something. And I think that's what they're going to learn. When can I do something? When should I take a shot rather than pass it? You know what I mean? I'm not going to yell at a kid that takes an open shot. And that's what they're trying to figure out. And that's one of the things of having a Gannon Brady. They all knew that 20-some points was going to come out of him every night.
Right.
That I don't have to score. Now kids may feel, oh, shoot, where's those 20 points going to come from? I have to score. So we'll see. Like I said, I think we're day to day. As each day goes by, we're getting a little bit better.
Why don't you tell us about some of the kids that you do have, that you're counting on this year?
Well, it really is interesting because everyone starts with a center. And a young kid that played football named Andrew Carianis probably started as one of those role players who, we weren't sure what his role was going to be, to now becomes maybe possibly the starting center.
Right.
And I got a few other kids. I got a senior class that's learning to get better. Connor Musket is one, and Liam Ailing is another. John Lucas Saluda and Colin Randles are all seniors that are going to have to contribute in some way. The major focus is going to be in our junior class. I have Sean Sakers and Ricky Wetzel and Amir Shavir. These are kids who are coming along each day, get a little bit better. I have a sophomore guard in Dylan Schlatter, who I feel is going to be a good one. I think he handles the ball well. And I think in high school, if you have a point guard and a center, you can fill in the other spots fairly well. So the center spot is a forward trying to play center, but he's a point guard. So we'll see how that goes. And, there's other kids like Sean Rapetti, who's a junior. One of the guys we failed to mention that chose not to was Brendan McGonigal, who obviously has a bright future in the kicking world and football.
Right.
And that was another kid that had a tough decision to make to focus on that. And so what I'm hoping is that we play multiple, players who play similar positions. And then, of course, Corey Segich, when he comes back, he's going to benefit, from watching, because he's going to want to be chomping at the bit to get out there.
Right.
So hopefully that'll be the case.
John, one more before we let you go. We talked with Cap about this with the girls. Ocean City's, your program, the girls program, you've always been beneficiaries of having those multi-sport athletes. And with the boys, we always see an extra level of toughness, it seems like, out of your kids consistently each year. Like, in other words, you may not have, in certain years, you might not have a ton of talent, but for some reason your kids, and I'm sure a lot of it comes from your guidance, but your kids seem to figure out how to compete. I mean, even if it's a year where you don't win a ton of games, you seem to play very competitive games against good teams, and it's those tough 2- and 3-sport athletes that seem to help you figure that out.
Right. One of those things we forgot to mention was Riley Gunnels. There's a perfect example.
Right.
The quarterback of our football team, who's coming out and, believe it or not, gives us more of a physical presence around the basket than you would think as the high school quarterback, who's very athletic. But I'll say it once, and I'll say it every time we guys get a chance to talk. I'm a multi-sport guy. Mm-hmm. I think athletes should play sports. If you're a good athlete in one sport, you're going to be a good athlete in another sport. I don't care how good a basketball player you are. As long as you're an athlete, I think you can greatly benefit from playing multiple sports.
And I'll tell you, that's a great point Brian brings up, because that's the one thing we always know, that your teams are going to be tough, they're going to be physical, and they're not going to quit. Now, and again, before we let you go, you've got to really be happy with one of your former players and the career that he's having up at Stockton. Luciano Lebrano. Oh, my gosh.
Buddy, it's funny. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I couldn't be more proud of a kid who, as a freshman in high school, there's a lot of question marks where he was going to go, what was going to happen, did he have the dedication and, the push. I couldn't be happier for a kid. I can't wait. We had practice late yesterday because of the scrimmage. I was going to see him play yesterday on Saturday. I can't wait to go see him play. I can't tell you how proud I am of him and all that he's done. And a shout out to Scott Bittner for taking a look at the Cape Atlantic League. If you take a look there, that's like a Cape Atlantic League All-Star team.
And obviously, Wildwood's not in the Cape, but you have a Cape Atlantic League area kid in Kion Flanders and DJ Campbell from Vineland.
Yeah. And Kion, with what he's doing up there, and I love it. I just think, and they're all good kids.
By the way, I always consider Wildwood Cape Atlantic League anyway. So.
Well, we do too. We think they should be there, but that's a story for another. We could do it. We could do a whole 3-hour show just on that.
But I'm glad you mentioned that, because I'm glad. I'm happy.
It's awesome.
So, and I want to say I'm really thankful for you guys do what you do. I think and in the COVID year, I think we really learned to appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you.
Fans couldn't get out to the games, and now I hope everybody understands how hard you guys work and what you do.
Thank you, John.
Appreciate all you guys do.
All right, so Ocean City coach Jon Bruno. We're going to stay here though, because we're going to switch things up a little bit. We do have a very special guest who's going to join us here at the table, and kind of will transition us to the Wildwood Catholic portion of our show here. But we're going to bring on former Wildwood Catholic star Mariana Papazaglou, who's now a freshman at Penn. Sunday afternoon going to Penn. Shouldn't you have a book in your hand right now?
Yeah, we actually have finals this week.
Okay,
so.
this week coming up or this past week you had
This week coming up.
Okay, all right. Well, good luck with that. Okay, so, but tell us about your transition to college here, playing at Penn and the Ivy League, and the I'm sure the unbelievable pleasure of being able to play in the Palestra.
Yeah, for starters, it's definitely a huge transition coming from such a small town to Philadelphia. It's competitive both on the court and off the court. It's a great place to be. Not many people get to say they play Division I basketball at an Ivy League school, so I'm very thankful for that, and I'm super excited to see how the rest of the season goes.
You're probably learning this at the college level. When you played at high school, you showed up, you were in the starting lineup, you played all 32 minutes a lot, or if you didn't do that, you played 28 or 30. At the college level, you've had some games where you haven't played. You've had some games where you've played 2 or 3 minutes, and you've had some games where you've played 20 minutes. What's the adjustment there in terms of always being ready to go, no matter how much or how little the coach may call on you?
Yeah, so the difference at this level is that no matter when or whenever your name gets called, you have to be ready. So I think that over the past couple games, I have had different occasions where I've played, where I haven't played, but the main thing is to be mentally ready, physically ready, and do whatever it takes to get yourself out on the floor.
And I was talking to you, and this is some of your games have been on ESPN3, which Brian took a nice bashing to on Twitter yesterday.
ESPN3's okay. It's ESPN Plus I don't like.
Right. Because we don't get that unless you have the package. You got to pay extra.
Some of their games have actually been on Comcast Sportsnet as well, or whatever that's called now, NBC Sports Philadelphia.
A couple games that the Penn women played, and talk about what it's like practice-wise. I mean, that Penn women's team. You got a lot of talent on that team, and there's some really you're fun to watch. I mean, it seems to be a very unselfish team, and the one player that I mentioned to you that I've become a fan of is I forgot what her first.
Jordan
Obi, yeah.
So when it comes to practices, our coach he really focuses on being competitive and bringing your all no matter what. I think it's a big transition from high school, especially, we have a pretty big team this year, so I think it's great that everybody brings 100% every single practice, and that transitions onto the court. So I think the season's going to go pretty well if we keep bringing it 100%.
Well, and I know I'm speaking for not only the Wildwood Catholic alumni, the Wildwood Catholic fraternity, but all of Cape May County basketball, particularly the Wildwoods, because you represent our community, and Brian will tell you, everybody is really proud and rooting and pulling for you. So it's great stuff. So
thank you.
Keep it up.
All right. So Mariana, thanks for coming on, and continued success. If you need any help with your studies, don't call us. That's way over our head. Trust me, that's way over our head. But it is, as Buddy said, so great to see you doing well, and and it is. It's when we're able to, it's so cool right now to see the kids from our area playing major college basketball. Mariana and Jalil at Temple, Taj Sweet at West Virginia, Jordan Hall, a Cape May County native at St. Joe's. When you can turn on the TV.
How about Gabby Turco?
Gabby Turco doing wonderful things as a freshman at the Division II level. And then, as we mentioned, some of these kids at Stockton and kids at the Division III level. And I say this all the time, basketball is one of those sports that if you can play it after high school, you're good. Only 5 kids play. There's only 12 or 15 on a team. You know, it's not like football where they have 90 guys on a roster. It's not like field hockey, 25. Not to diminish those sports. You can play basketball after high school and to do it at the Division I level like you are. You know, just kudos to you, and you know, we wish you luck. And of course, we're going to continue to keep tabs. And you know, if you're home over Christmas break, we'll get you on at halftime as well. So you know, it's the microphone's always open for you, Mariana.
I will be rooting on all my schools, all my friends, and I'm so excited to see everybody compete this year, and I'm excited to see everybody back on the court. Hopefully they have the full season that we didn't have last year.
Yep.
And hopefully I can see Wildwood Catholic on the Stockton court.
Yeah, for the Cape Langley Championship.
Yeah.
Yes. So Mariana Papazaglou is now playing at Penn. Wildwood Catholic's all-time leading scorer, even though she only got to play 10 games her senior year. She would have obliterated that record had it been a full season, and but ended up breaking that record in the final game. We appreciate you stopping by and coming by, and again, continued success at Penn.
Thank you for having me.
You got it. All right, so this is the high school, the Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball preview show live from the Mud Hen here in Wildwood, and we're going to take a break, and Buddy and I are taking a step up in technology here. We're going to try to pull this off and try to get Wildwood Catholic girls coach Steve DePatri over the phone and on the air to talk about his team. He could not be here this afternoon. So we're going to take a quick break on the radio here. We'll take a break on the live stream as well, of course. And this is the high school boys and girls basketball preview show for Cape May County, live from the Mud Hen. We'll be right back after this on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. what's going to be a very young team this year? Steve, what's for so many years here, so I guess you would have gone from, see if I got the timeline correct on this, you would have gone from Caitlin McMullen to Olivia Rulon to Mariana and Gabby. You've always had that big scorer in your program for the last 7 or 8 or 10 years. And now it looks like you're going to be a little more by committee this year. You're the largest returning scorer is Kimmy Casiello as a senior, who averaged a little over 8 points a game this year. I know you're high on some of these sophomores. Carly Murphy was a starter for you. So what's it like? It seems like you're probably going to have to be a more balanced scoring team this year, would you think? Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so the season opener is actually Saturday. You won't play Friday night. You're playing Cedar Creek at the Prime Events Tip-Off Weekend Showcase event in Ocean City. And I know you have a scrimmage or two scheduled this week, but how much are you looking forward to that first regular season matchup with Cedar Creek? We're talking with, I'm sorry, Steve, we're talking with Wildwood Catholic Girls coach Steve DiPatri on the high school tip-off show here on 98.7 The Coast. Steve, last year, obviously, everybody went through a much different kind of year. What was it, and you guys have had your issues at the school. You had a little shutdown. I know you're back in school tomorrow and back at practice, but, just to be out, right before Thanksgiving, like it's supposed to be, and hopefully we'll get the full season in. It's got to be exciting for the kids and the coaches and everybody that went through what we all went through last year. Right. 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 Steve, one more, and then we'll let you go. The Cape Atlantic League realigned. It was supposed to be realigned for last year, and then they created, obviously, the different divisions locally, as you mentioned, because of COVID. But you're in a conference now with Buna and Egg Harbor Township, Hamilton, Lower Cape May, Middle Township, and Our Lady of Mercy Academy. How do you feel? I see some really good competition in there, whereas, over the last few years, it was basically you and Middle Township battling for that United Conference. And now, the addition of Alma, the addition of a Hamilton, a bigger school in EHT, there's the competition in your division has kind of stepped up a little bit, hasn't it? Sure. Okay. All right, Steve, thanks. We appreciate you calling in. This is Steve DePatri, the Wildwood Catholic girls coach. We wish you luck this season, and in particular on Saturday against Cedar Creek up in Ocean City. Thanks for calling in and joining us here on the High School Tip-Off Show. All right, you got it. That was Steve DePatri from Wildwood Catholic. We appreciate him coming on here, and we are going to, we're going to take a quick break. We'll take a quick break, and then we're going to come back with Anthony Raffa, the first-year boys head coach at Wildwood Catholic. And Buddy was just getting things organized here off the set. And also, as usual, as everyone knows on our broadcast, Buddy is always out there like he's running for office, shaking hands, kissing babies.
I was actually talking to advertisers.
Okay, well that's even better.
Yes,
that's even better. All right, so we'll take a quick break. We'll come back alongside Buddy Tarbotton. I'm Brian Cunniff. Chris Knoll is handling our live video stream. This is the high school boys and girls tip-off show for Cape May County, and we'll be right back after this on CoastSportsToday.com and 98.7 The Coast. We are live on location at the Mud Hen Brewery in downtown Wildwood. Brian Cunniff alongside Buddy Tarbotton and Chris Knoll, the live video stream on CoastSportsToday.com. And we are in the midst of our Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball preview. And joining us now is the Wildwood Catholic boys basketball coach, Anthony Raffa, in his first season back at his alma mater after a career there that certainly has built a legacy as one of the school's all-time greats, and now he's back leading his alma mater. And first of all, Anthony, we got to ask you about that, just being back in the gym at Wildwood Catholic.
Well, first of all, thank you guys for having me on. It's great. Now that my career is over, I get to, extend my career in a different way in the coaching field. So it's going to be a challenge, but I'm looking forward to it.
You're taking over a program that barely played last year. With the way the schedule went and a COVID shutdown, Wildwood Catholic only played 5 games last year. You have 3 transfers coming in. This is very much a new team, isn't it?
For sure. I was there last year as well as a volunteer. So
right.
I knew what the struggles that we went through. But now with the fairly new team, I have 3 or 4 guys coming back from last year, but we've added 3 transfers, 2 kids from Vineland and 1 from Lower Cape May, and it's going to be a process. It's not going to happen overnight. We're going to work every day, and we're just going to take it day by day.
You have, it's a shame because Nick Montabano, who was a kid that really started to come on last year, if you really feel for a kid, it's him. He was finally getting his shot last year, only gets 5 games. He's grown to about 6'7", I believe. He's just a physically imposing kid who's gotten better. And then he gets hurt, and he's most likely out for the year. So you're going to miss him. You only have one other senior in Akil Johnson. The junior transfers that Anthony mentioned, Justin Harper and Asmir Cates are from Vineland, Manny Weaver from Lower Cape May. You got a couple of sophomores, Landon Hart, Rasheed Bell, a very promising freshman, and Tayshawn Jackson. And the one thing you have, with Nick out, you don't have that one huge kid. But you seem to have really good size across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my smallest guy, from the top 8 or 9 is 6'2", 6'3", and above.
Right.
So we have size. We have an ability to push the floor. We have a lot of guys with very good skill individually, and for the style I'm playing, it's going to help them a lot. It's going to help us a lot.
And the style you're playing, because we watched you as a player, and the style you played was, going 100 miles an hour in a 55-mile-an-hour zone. Are you going to try to have your team play that way?
Not too sure, but as of right now, the game I'm trying to work with them is more of what I've done in college and what I've learned many years playing overseas. So I'm putting all that together and trying to mold it with this team.
Coach, one of the things that Wildwood Catholic under Coach DeWeese has been known for, and you were a big part of this as a player. Going back to 2007, there was always that pack or that one player that had good role players around him that could come in and take the team to the next level. When you played, obviously it was you. And then we go 4 or 5 years, and it was the Jordan Robertson era. Then we go a couple of years, and then it's it's Taj Thweet and Jaleel White and that group. Where you always had guys you knew who could put the ball in the basket, you knew who was taking the last shot, at the end of the game, and going into this group, I know you had mentioned the 2 kids from Vineland, are talented. Like, how do you see you developing, to try and keep that tradition, so to speak, ongoing?
Right. Well, we're inexperienced, which is a problem. But with the offense I'm running, it's not. I might not have a guy that scores 20, 30 points a night. This is a team that can pitch in 10, 10, 10 here, 10 here. I don't have a go-to man right now. I haven't found that out. Sooner enough, I could. Or I'm going to make a game-time decision to put somebody in that position to make a play for me. So pretty much this team's very balanced with players. So the style I'm playing, everybody's going to have freedom. Everybody's going to have freedom in the offensive end. If it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And from the 5 down to the 1, they're going to be handling the ball to put us in the offense. So it doesn't really matter who's scoring. It just matters if we can bond together and be successful as a team. And defensively, we have size and we have some strong kids. So I think that will benefit us a lot on the defensive end, because if we play strong and play physical, it will be easier for us to get out in transition and get easy buckets.
Your openers against Ocean City on Friday. We talked to Coach Bruno earlier. They have a very young team, but I know from your days as a player, you got to be on point when you play Ocean City. Tough kids, multi-sport athletes. What do you think of the matchup on Friday?
It's gonna be a tough game. Obviously, it's their home opener. There's gonna be fans back in the gym for sure this year. So I'm just gonna tell my kids to relax and just play their game. I'm worried about my team.
Right.
I'm not worried about anybody else right now. I gotta be in a position where my team is the best prepared going into that game.
Now, how much did it hurt you, as a lot of people know throughout the community? Wildwood Catholic had a little shutdown this week. It really was not because of COVID among the high school students, but I believe it affected some teachers and there was staff out, so it's shut down. And you have not practiced in 4 or 5. Or by tomorrow, you will not have practiced in 4 or 5 days. So that really had to put you behind a little bit.
Right. So we got the notice on Tuesday, so I missed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So,
right.
Tomorrow, it's pretty much going back to day one. What I prepared for a week of practice, I have to go back to that because we've lost a week of practice.
Right.
I got to put a lot of stuff in because I got a game on Friday and Sunday, so I have 4 days to prepare for 2 games pretty much.
Right. Exactly.
So, but I'm looking for the I'm looking forward to the challenge, and my team as well, and I'll have them, prepared. Obviously, I have a great coaching staff. Zach DeWeese, Phil Kelly, and Coach DeCarlo, who coached me when I was here. So we're going to put these guys in the best position to be successful.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you coming on. Wildwood Catholic boys coach Anthony Raffa in his first season, and we're going to come back after the break with Middle Township. And during the commercial break, we have a court set up. Anthony Raffa and John Leahy are going to play one-on-one outside. And horse, yeah, John said horse. Yeah, John will play you and horse. Anthony would rather go one-on-one.
No, we're not doing post moves, though. No post moves, right?
Post moves? All right, we'll take a quick break. This is the Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball tip-off show live from the Mud Hen Brewery in Wildwood. We'll be here till 7 if you want to stop by. They put together a special menu for this event as well. And we'll be back right after this on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. Hen Brewery in downtown Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton and Chris Knoll handling the video production on CoastSportsToday.com as we move along in our Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball tip-off show. And this is our second time doing this. Can't say second annual because we didn't do it last year, but did it 2 years ago. Back again. Happy to be back. And right now we are joined by representatives from the Middle Township girls basketball program. We have head coach John Leahy, senior Brianna Robinson, and junior Jada Elston. And I know from over the past couple of years how much Jada enjoys doing these interviews on camera.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think she likes it just as much as Kate Hurley did.
Yeah, I'm sure.
For sure.
John, you went 8-1 last year, and Kate Hurley, you just mentioned, drove the bus for you. She's now at Rowan. Jada comes back as your leading scorer, so what's the challenge here? You do have three seniors that played a lot last year, even though it was a shortened season. You got Brianna and Lanasia Harris and Kylie Graham. Yep. So what are your thoughts going into this season here?
Yeah, I mean, it'll certainly be an adjustment when you think about, some of the kids we've lost over the last couple of years that have been, major contributors, especially scoring-wise. But we have 5 kids back, all upperclassmen that played a lot last year and even the year before that. So it's just like any other year. I feel like, kids grow and develop through the program. And, every year you're expecting kids to get better and kind of grab and embrace a bigger role and more responsibility. And we're certainly going to need that. I mean, obviously, you take Kate's points out, and I don't think it's going to be one person that's going to replace, her scoring. I think it's going to have to be a collective effort. But so far we're having a pretty good season. I'm pretty happy with where we're at. I guess as happy as any head coach can be. So the kids are working really hard, and like every year, we hope we'll get better and figure it out as we go.
All right, so Jada, I wanted to ask you, because this is kind of a big move here. You went from a player who was a defensive stopper, run off screens, try to get yourself open for three, and now you're the point guard and handling the ball and a bigger point guard at that. What are you, about 5'8" now?
Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Great to me.
Sounds good. Yeah. What's that adjustment been like? Because now there's a little more focus on what you have to do for this team here.
It's definitely something that I have to adapt to as time goes on, and I'm starting to get more comfortable each and every day, just getting in the gym, working with my team, and just all working together and just making my role as easy as it can be, even though it definitely won't be, but that's just for me to get used to as time goes on. And I'm just up for the challenge, and I'm ready to take whatever.
Brianna, when you're here as a senior now, and I guess you and Kylie and even Lanasia, the program here at Middle has always been that, for some of you, you had to kind of bide your time. Certainly there's going to be those ultra-talented kids that come in and play as a freshman or a sophomore, but it seems like in Middle's program, kids like you become seniors, and all of a sudden you become those big contributors. So, how much are you looking forward to having that increased role now that you're a senior and some of your other senior teammates are in the same boat?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it every day at practice, how each class has a responsibility to challenge the class below them and the class below them to, keep the program growing and for years to come, and just get everyone ready for when it is their turn, when they become starters and when they have the responsibility to stand up.
And one of the things that Coach brought up, I mean, obviously when a player like Kate Hurley graduates and she averages 20-plus points a game, and now, you're hoping to pick those points up collectively. Someone's going to score 12, someone's going to score 10. But one of the things that you guys have been noted for a long time is your defense. You're one of the best if not better defensive teams in our area, in the Cape Atlantic League. Talk a little bit about the pride that you guys take in knowing that defensive presence, that's going to impact games.
Yeah. So defense is obviously really important. I've always been told that defense wins games, and we have a lot of long players like Jada and I, and we have real long extremities and stuff. So we get long, and just being able to get down and guard the ball is really important. And we talk about it all the time, how defense is mainly just effort, and that's all you can give. And the defense starts up high, and the offense will eventually catch up.
Jon, Brianna just mentioned it. This is one of your bigger teams. You're gonna, and I know you don't have that one overwhelmingly big kid, but you have a lot of girls that are in that 5'6" to 5'9" range, and that's got to be it's something different for you, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I can't even remember the last time we had somebody that was 6 foot or higher. Maybe Jesse Moore's.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, we have decent size across the board. Like I said, I mean, we don't really have anybody that's like huge, but we have, solid kind of 5'7", 5'8", 5'9" across the board. And we're going to need every bit of it because if we don't rebound, we won't win a game. So, yeah, I mean, that should help. It should help with our defense. And, Buddy, by the way, extremities is the honors term for arms.
I do that.
Yeah. Brianna's in honors classes.
Yeah, I'm sure. I was impressed by that.
Buddy went right to his iPad.
Yeah. I saw you going to Webster on your iPad there. But certainly the size should help us. And like Brianna said, I'm glad she was actually listening in practice, which is not surprising. But usually, we always tell the kids, if you play with great effort, especially on the defensive end and especially rebounding, hopefully the offense can catch up to the defense. And if that happens, then we have a chance to be pretty good. So we'll see what happens.
Jada, you've played in, you're one of the rare ones that, you were a big contributor as a freshman and then a starter last year. So you might have the most experience, even though you're still just a junior. How much are you looking forward to, hopefully playing a full schedule and getting, some of these league games, I always say when you guys play Wildwood Catholic, we should just put 35-35 on the scoreboard and start the game with 2 minutes left. But now you're going to get teams like Our Lady of Mercy in your division who's good. A Hamilton team that's getting better. They were young last year. They've got a prolific scorer on that team. Egg Harbor Township, a Group 4 team. Some of these teams in your division's much better than it was, the last.
Getting bullied by Kara Sides and Maddie Barber and Kate, it's just like it's helped me grow as a player and just get me ready for seasons like this.
And now you're bullying the freshmen? I don't think so. I think you're too nice. You're too nice.
I don't know. I mean, I get a little frustrated, but I can't blame them.
I'll tell you one of the things too, and Brian, what you had just said, and watching you, Jada, you've also you got ice water in your veins when it comes to taking a big shot at the end of a game and knocking it down. I was impressed last year with a couple of your shots that you hit.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, I recall the big three she hit against Wildwood Catholic as a freshman off the bench. Yeah. I remember that one. I know Jon talks about that all the time. We really appreciate you guys coming here, and girls, we hope you get your full 26 games and you have a great year. Go ahead, Jon.
Jada, she just mentioned it, and it's one of the things Coach Leahy's been able to hang his hat on. He's got all these different sister combinations, But is there any other sisters coming up through the system?
Sisters, I don't know.
Sides, the Hurleys, the Hunters.
Yeah, I heard there was a one of Bridget Ruskey's cousins moving to Avalon from Philly. So maybe we'll get her. And the Hurleys might have some nieces moving down. I don't know. We'll have to find somebody. But I love my kids. I coach great kids. I'm very, very lucky to have them. And just looking forward to hopefully getting the and just keep it rolling and hopefully we'll take advantage of the opportunity that's in front of us.
And Middle will start the season with a rivalry game right out of the gate. They'll host Lower Cape May on Friday, and that should be it's always an interesting game when it's Middle Lower, no matter what the talent level on either side will be. Always a good rivalry game with Lower Cape May. So Jada Elston, Brianna Robinson, Coach John Leahy from Middle Township, thanks for joining us, and good luck with the season.
Thanks, guys. We appreciate it. You guys do a great job.
Thank you. All right, so that's the Middle Township girls. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll come back with the Middle Township boys team and head coach Lamar Greer, and he'll be on with us right after this on CoastSportsToday.com and 98.7 The Coast. Live at the Mud Hen Brewery in downtown Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton and Chris Knoll on the live video stream as we move along here with our Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball preview show. And right now we are joined at the table by Basketball royalty, buddy. Lamar Greer, who's one of the all-time greats in not only this area but New Jersey State history as a high school player, and he is now back as the first-year head coach at Middle Township. A little bit about Lamar: went from Middle to was the New Jersey Player of the Year as a senior, led them to 2 state titles in the early to mid-'90s, went on to play at Florida State, long pro career overseas, and now back into coaching, and was around Middle as an assistant, went to Camden as assistant, and now you're the head coach. And even for someone who's been through everything you've been through and everything you've gotten to experience through basketball, it had to give you a little goosebumps to be the head coach at Middle Township when you first started it, didn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, every day walking into the building is like, it's surreal, because it's where it started. Like, it's my foundation, and there's like a lot of pride there, and a lot of pride in the community, and I understand the whole picture.
You're taking over a very young team. You do have a couple of seniors in there. Gavin Aftanis, one of your big kids. Ben Harris, who's a nice athlete, is a senior. Yep. But you're really young, and you've got some of these kids, some of these sophomores. Jermaine McNeil, everybody calls him Bubba. Anthony Trombetta, Michael Zarfati, and then you have a freshman coming in Jameer McNeil, who everybody calls Mearsy, and then you have Aiden Howe. I mean, you got to like what you have in this program right now.
Yeah, I do, but I keep telling them it's our gift and our curse, because we're so young and we don't realize how hard it's going to be, and they think we're just going to walk through it, and they don't understand the process, that we have to work every day and come. And I heard a saying the other day: suppress success. We got to succeed and forget about it and move on to the next step. So it's nice to have them, but our seniors have been very good trying to lead those young guys. So it's a nice mix of young and older guys.
Yeah, and Lamar, just talk a little bit. You had mentioned the surreal feeling of walking into that Middle Township building, walking into that gym. Talk a little bit about, and I know you have the utmost respect for Tommy Fracco, but I mean, you're not just walking in replacing a coach. You're replacing a legend.
Oh my God, it's a surreal. It's unbelievable, and I still bug him. I called him at his house the other day. We had a rough scrimmage, and I called him late at night. And I love Coach because he drops everything when I call. So I call him at home. I call him at the store, 6:30, 7 in the morning. Whatever I need, he's there. And I know that the pressure is there. But he taught me to go after things like that. Lamar, shoot for the stars. Lamar, go after the best. Be better than I am. You know what I mean? So he's always telling me that, but I'm always reaching out to him as much as I can to try to get help from him, because he's been through everything. And it's basketball, but also life. Guiding life and guiding kids through life and making men. And he got 2 beautiful sons, and so Coach is amazing, and it's hard to follow his footsteps, but I'm embracing it and I'm looking forward to it.
You have Tommy had to, the last couple years when he came back, had to maybe get away from what Middle's program is all about because of the personnel that he had. Mm-hmm. But now I've seen you play a couple scrimmages. It looks like you're trying to get back to that identity. You're picking up people full court. You're playing a lot of kids. You're really trying to get after people and pressure defensively. You're really doing a lot of the, some of the real good vintage Middle teams had that real strong dribble kick game offensively.
Yeah.
You look like you're trying to get back to that.
Yeah, it just comes to doing it every day. And like I said, that's what Coach gave me, my foundation, and that's what we built it on. It's always been on man-to-man defense, whether it's full court or half court, containing your man, staying in front of the bounce, and then rebounding the ball, and then getting out and running, driving, and make each other better, and make your teammates better.
So does that mean we're going to be hearing a little bit from the sidelines? 33.
33.
Yeah. We're trying to get to it. We're going step by step with it. You want to get to it because that's just what we know. You know what I mean? So we got to get this man-to-man defense down first.
Lamar, a lot of people are there's people out there that are talking about, Middle has those freshmen from last year back, but they didn't get a lot of experience. Middle only ended up playing 5 games last year because of COVID. So even though these kids are sophomores, it's almost like, and they played last year, but these are really new high school players, aren't they?
Yeah, because they're still trying to get used to the process. And I keep talking to them about the process of, every day coming to work, getting through every drill. But they're really good, and my job is to push them to get to college, and prepare them for college and make them college basketball players. And wherever they go to college, they step on campus and they're ready to go. And I tell them, I believe if you're being recruited and we make you a college player, we'll be winning games. So I keep pushing them, but they're really accepting and they're really coachable.
The opener's Friday against Cape May Tech at Cape May Tech. We will have that game on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. So make sure you tune in. It's a 5:30 start. And over the last couple of years, that's actually become a little bit of a rival because Cape May Tech has knocked Middle off a couple times, and I'm sure your kids are chomping at the bit to play this game on Friday.
Yeah, they are. And Cape May Tech is really good. They have a lot back, and so we're looking forward to it. And we know it's going to be a hard battle. It's going to be 32 minutes, and we really got to. I keep saying finish every quarter, every play, every possession. So we're going to have to go in there and play 32 minutes, and I'm anticipating a lot of people are going to be there. But we're looking forward to it.
Well, I don't want you to feel any extra pressure because we're going to be there.
Yeah, I know.
critiquing every move,
everything. Yeah, but that's a part of being at Middle Township basketball. There's a lot of pressure, and our standard is high. You know what I mean? And I tell the kids that all the time. The standard is high, and we have everything we need to be successful, from administration to teachers to community to facilities. We have everything it is to be successful. So the standard is high in Middle. We should be critiqued. We should be.
One more, and we'll let you go. You have an arsenal of assistant coaches.
I do.
And you got to be happy with that. Some alumni are back, and I know you got some guys coming in and helping out. And I know when Tommy was in his heyday, he always had a lot of assistant coaches.
Yep.
And I'm sure just to be able to turn around and bounce things off of different guys has to be a big help.
Oh, it's amazing, and I appreciate all of them. Ryan Babno, he's our do-everything guy, assistant coach, weight trainer. He does everything with our academics, so it's amazing having him back because he's been with Coach for so long, and now he's here with me. So, that's like my right-hand guy. And then now we picked up Brendan Norris, and he's been amazing. He's bringing a lot of energy, and Ray Brown is back. He went to our school. He graduated from our school, so it's a lot of pride there. And then we have Ben Green, who's our freshman coach, but it's great because he's in the building, and he gets to see the kids in the hallways, and every time they go left, we get to push them back. We get to push them back and make sure
that's
they're
important.
Going. Yes, and I talk to our kid in the classroom and the hallways. That's where you build your habits, and then that comes on to the court. So we are hard on them, extremely hard on them in the hallways and in the classroom, and staying connected with teachers and checking grades and stuff. So they're learning that's all a part of the process of being recruited and going to college and playing basketball.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had fun watching your 2 scrimmages. I caught a quarter of the Hamilton one. I saw most of the Wildwood one, and it really. I think probably the most important thing that I see is that your kids are buying into what you're, and I know you're not there yet, but they're buying into what you want to do. And, I think you're going to have some success with that. And, we hope you enjoy the process and enjoy the season. Hopefully you get all your 26 games in for the kids.
Man, knock on wood.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. Coach keeps reminding me of that, too.
Yeah.
Hey, it doesn't look good. Let's get to the first one.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
All right. So Middle Township coach Lamar Greer, we appreciate you stopping by the Mud Hen, and we're going to take a break and we'll move along with our show coming up after this. We're only about halfway through. We've got quite a few more schools to talk to, and we'll be back right after this on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. the Mud Hen Brewery in downtown Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton. Chris Knoll handling the live video stream on Coast Sports Today. This is the Cape May County Girls and Boys High School Basketball Preview Show. And we are now joined by some members of the Lower Cape May Girls Basketball Program. And I don't know if I want to say new head coach, but I guess you're the new head coach, Pat Holden, who's coaching head coach of a girls team for the first, at least at the high school level, for the first time, and after obviously coaching the boys for so many years and then helping out your brother. So it's got to be a little different going in the gym and coaching girls, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, but I'm having a blast, and it's an interim position. I'll be very clear with that.
Yeah.
They came to me. They said, "Look, we're stuck for a year," and I told them I would do it, and so I'm enjoying it. Hopefully, the girls are enjoying it. I've coached girls before, so it's not foreign to me. Mm-hmm. It's definitely different than the boys, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. My role's a lot different. I've been working with my brother as an assistant for the last 6 or 7 years, so this has been very challenging in some respects, and it's definitely different when you're a head coach, for sure.
You've gone through this before with your son, and then your older daughter, being around the program with them playing, and now you're the head coach of your youngest daughter. What's the challenge there? And I'm going to ask Lindsay the same question. I can't wait to hear that answer. But what's the challenge there?
Brian, and my wife would corroborate this with, and so do my other two, if Lauren and Patch were here. I have a real simple rule. I don't talk about basketball outside of the gym at all. And I don't want that to be the foundation of my family. If you play great, then we're going to celebrate. If you don't play good, then we're going to go home, and the mood or in the house is going to be right.
Right.
So there are challenges when you coach your own son or daughter, and we've talked about that. I've talked about Lauren and Patrick, and I thought that they adjusted very well, and I think she's adjusted very well. And but I think the best rule is, and I even do it with my son and daughter when they played in college. I don't talk about the game afterwards. We just, how's school, how your grades, are you having fun? And I think that's an important thing to do. And then when we get back into the gym, whether it's as a team or individually, we say, hey, these are some things I think we got to do to get better. And so I think it's worked out well so far. Now, I'll be interested to hear what she says.
Yes. All right. So Lindsay, and this is Lindsay Holden, who's Pat's daughter. She's the senior point guard here. First of all, a little bit more of a serious question here. After only playing 10 games last year, and now you're a senior, how much and we still have this COVID cloud hanging over us, but how much are you hoping to get the full season and the full 26 games in?
It's definitely important to me. I mean, last year we only played about 10 games, probably maybe 9, 10, which is hard because, as a junior, it sucks to get your season taken away. Not completely, but, it set us back, and I don't think that last year was right for anyone, just the team chemistry and just being shut down, because we got shut down for, I think, just only once, but for 2 weeks. So it's really important, not even just for me, but for the other girls too, that we have this season and we get to live it out without the whole COVID thing.
Now, when you're in the gym, and I'll get to what we were talking about earlier, when you're in the gym at practice, have you figured out yet to separate that during those 2 hours of practice that's coach and not dad? Is that something you're trying to do?
Yes and no. I mean, he's been coaching me my whole life, sort of, not even just, this year, but I've trained with him ever since I was an 8th grade freshman. So, it was hard to find the balance at first, but now that it's the real deal, it's definitely different, but I'm grateful to have him in the gym because he's an intelligent man, knows a lot of experience. So I kind of have to get used to that balance between dad and coach. But he's my dad and coach. So
Lindsay, talk a little bit about the fact that yes, you're a Holden and you come from a basketball family, from Uncle Scott. I mean, obviously to your dad and your grandfather. Who was really impactful in my life from the coaching aspect. and it's amazing, now, and then obviously with your brother and your sister, and what it feels like to be a part of that legacy.
Definitely grateful for, they've helped me out so much. I mean, everyone, even my mom, but mostly, Pop only saw me when I was in 8th grade. He didn't really get to see me, but I know he's watching me, so, that's like my motivation to, it's the bigger picture, why am I doing this? And I definitely think that he had a huge impact on my decision to, stick it through, keep going, and, stay positive. My dad's always been there. Like I said, he's been training me my whole life, so it's definitely, just to be a part of it is, awesome.
Well, real quick, and when, as you said, when Pop was at games, other games, whatever, prior to you, he'd be sitting in that front row with his clipboard, and I could never walk past him. He'd always look at me, and he'd pat down on the bleacher, and I'd have to sit there and do my, and listen. But I loved it, you know what I mean? Because he was teaching me, much later on after my playing days, and just had the utmost respect for that man.
Yeah. I can remember when when we were in the gym, I was in 8th grade, and I was having trouble doing this drill, was crossover to behind the back, and I couldn't perfect it, so he made me stay later in the gym that day, and I was practicing it, and behind the back, he's up and down the floor. He made me go up and down the floor, doing it back in line to do the drill. And I just remember Atlantic City last year was the first time I used the behind the back move in the open court on a fast break, and I was just I knew he was smiling from heaven. I knew he was.
A great story. Pat, let's tell us about the team. First of all, why don't you introduce the three young ladies you have with us as well?
Yep, very good. Our junior here to my left is Janae Elam, and we have Caitlin
McGuigan.
I'm just messing with her. And Sarah Donahue. Okay. So we're relatively young, Brian. My daughter's the only senior on the team. We have junior. We have Caitlin. Brianna Loper's a big part of things. She's the other starter. She's a sophomore. And then we have a few that come off the bench, and Alex Vogt and Haley Elwell. And so it'll be and Jasmine comes off the bench. So we have it's relatively a young group.
I know this team was you weren't the coach last year. Lindsay can attest to it, I'm sure. The team was extremely young last year. So do you see? Caitlin played as a freshman. I know Brianna moved here, I believe, and played a little bit as a freshman. So, do you see? Because obviously you watched the games last year, you were involved. Do you see a little more, a little more development and a little more, having an idea of what to do on the floor out of this group compared to last year?
100%. And kids naturally get better from one year to another. And my role right now is first and foremost, I want girls to have fun. I want to do team building things. I want to try to rekindle an interest again in girls playing basketball. And they'll tell you, my narrative is about positive energy and working hard. And I think these girls bring it every day. And, I think people will be very, very impressed. They came in the gym and just saw how focused they were. So it's been a good experience so far.
How do you see yourselves fitting in? You're in a pretty difficult division with some of these teams, Middle Township and Wildwood Catholic and Our Lady of Mercy, and then Hamilton. How do you see yourself fitting in? How do you think you're going to compete?
It's a great question. I don't follow girls over the past year like maybe I should have, and I just go and watch the games. I'm not real familiar. I am a little bit with what certain teams have talent-wise. I think our focus has got to be about ourselves right now and just getting incrementally better each week. And I tell them we have to be much better in February than we are now. And if that translates, we want to be competitive, but we're really focused on ourselves and making goals for ourselves as opposed to maybe wins and losses. Obviously we want to be competitive, and I think they will be competitive. But we certainly last year we had a very difficult schedule for sure. So.
Right.
We just want to get better each week and be as competitive as we can.
Pat, and I got to imagine, with Lindsay, the only kid in the program that's really been a proven scorer, you're really going to have to make your chops at the defensive end and keep games low scoring to give yourselves a chance, I'm sure.
Yeah, you know what, Brian? I tell the girls every day we have to defend and we have to rebound. And, I'm looking at the big picture with all of them. I want to get as many possessions as possible. For me, it's not about winning games this year. I'm just trying to build the program, get the kids better, and I think we're going to do that through with possessions. I mean, we're looking to get the ball out and transition and run. And try to get a lot of possession. Now, certainly certain teams will maybe control the tempo a little bit more, and we want to be competitive, but you don't implement a system in 1 year and all of a sudden you're going to be real successful. So our goal is in practices we do a lot of drills, individual drills to get them better, and we want to get as many possessions in the game as we can just to teach the kids how to play. And hopefully our defense and our rebounding will two things that will keep us in the game.
Well, and one thing we know, Pat, is with the the lower Cape May kids, the girls, and again, it's another school where girls play multiple sports, and there's a toughness that we always see, that comes from the lower Cape May students, and particularly the girl basketball players. So I think too, that mental toughness is there, and then to develop what you're talking about is that basketball IQ, so they understand, when to and when not to, and they get a real feel and get their confidence up, because it's amazing, what you can accomplish when you believe in yourself and your teammates.
100%. It's a great point, buddy. And I tried to go out this year. Last year, I don't want to say something that's incorrect, but I want to say I think 4 of their teams they played twice were in the Press Elite top 5.
Yeah.
And I remember saying to myself, last year was very, very challenging. I tried to, when I got the schedule this year, which was late, I tried to add, 10 or 12 games that were more comparable to us. And I was able to do that, so that's a great point. And that's what I'm trying to do this year is instill confidence and play some games. Like I said, maybe we win some of those, we lose some of them. But if we're in the game in the fourth quarter, that's all we can ask for right now.
All right, so this was the Lower Cape May girls program here. We appreciate Pat Holden and his handful of players that he brought here to the Mud Hen, and we wish you girls the best of luck this season. And hopefully at the end of the year, you will have played at least 27 games, 26 and a state playoff game. Hopefully that's the goal, and I'm not sure if that's going to happen, but we'll see what happens, and we wish you guys the best of luck.
We appreciate it, and I do want to mention, I'm sure other people have, I was just telling my brother what an unbelievable job you guys have done to promote sports in this area, all sports. And, this is the first time I didn't know what to expect tonight, but the coverage that you provide in the paper and with the TV is just really something special. And, I know that Lower Cape May, as well as the other schools, don't take it for granted. We really appreciate, the parents and the athletes. So thank you very much. You guys really do a great job.
Thank you. Thanks, Pat.
Thank you.
All right, so that's the Lower Cape May girls program. We appreciate them coming on, and we'll take a break, and we'll have Scott Holden and the boys program from Lower Cape May coming up on the other side. This is the Cape May County Boys and Girls High School Basketball Preview Show, CoastSportsToday.com and 98.7 The Coast. We'll be right back. On location at the Mud Hen Brewery in Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton, Chris Knoll on the live video stream on CoSportsToday.com. This is the Cape May County Boys and Girls High School Basketball Preview Show on 98.7 The Coast, and we move along now, and we have members of the Lower Cape May Boys Basketball Program here. We have head coach Scott Holden, if you're watching the video here, and then moving toward the right of your screen, we have sophomore Mackie Bonner, junior Jacob Bay, and junior Archie Lawler, and we'll talk to these guys here over the next few minutes. We'll start with the coach, Scott Holden. 8-5 in the shortened season last year, but you won 5 of your last 6 with a young team, and even though you have some experience, you're still young, no seniors. So, what are some of your thoughts going into this new season here?
Basically, take where we started off last year, which I thought, we surprised some people a little bit by being a little bit more competitive than was expected, and just grow with that. And, it's still the remnants of a COVID situation and things like that. We didn't have a proper off season and things like that, but we're going to try to catch up and get up to speed.
You're in a very, very difficult division. You're going to have to play teams like St. Joe and Holy Spirit and Egg Harbor Township. And, I'm hearing teams like Mainland and Cedar Creek might be a little better than people first thought. So this is a very, very challenging division that you're in. And, your kids are going to have to be ready right away, especially, you get EHT in the opener.
Yeah, absolutely. I think our division is there's no gimme win whatsoever. And you're saying you obviously St. Joe, you have EHT, Holy Spirit, ourselves, but then you have teams. It's the coaches at Cedar Creek, Hamilton, and Mainland with what they do and the battles we've had in the years past with them. I hate going to Hamilton on a Saturday when that sun's coming through that window.
Yep.
and all that. And Cedar Creek's a rough trip, and Dan Williams at Mainland always has his team ready.
All right, so let's go to Archie here. Archie, you're the leading returning scorer coming back. And I guess for quite a few of you guys, yourself, Jacob, Braswell Thomas, a freshman, a couple of the other kids, Mike Cronin. You're coming off of a long football season. What's that transition like? Practice started. You guys still had a football game that Wednesday night, and then you're right back in the gym. I mean, are you guys still a little beat up, or what here?
Yeah, the transition's tough. We saw that last year. We started slow last year because of that. But this year we have more practices. We have 4 scrimmages, so I think we're going to be fine and ready to go when the season starts.
Jacob, what are you expecting this year? Even though everybody's, again, like I said, no seniors. You and Archie have been playing since your freshman year. Mackie got basically half a season last year because of only 13 games. But, how do you feel, prepared-wise, to take on the challenges of this schedule?
I feel great. I mean, practice is going well. We have our freshmen or the young guys in. Mm-hmm. They know the play, or they're getting the plays and stuff. We are a young team, but I feel great. We have great chemistry. I feel like we're going to be really successful this year.
Mackie, what was your comfort level coming back now as a sophomore after, even though it was only 13 games, after starting as a freshman as a point guard? How much did that help, having that, even though it wasn't a full year, a year of experience under your belt, entering the gym this year? How much of a difference did that make for you?
Yeah, that made a big difference, just having experience and now knowing everything so I can help the younger guys coming in and get to know the offense and just everything about our team.
And guys, talk a little bit about, as Brian had mentioned, the football season. You had a very competitive football team, and now the expectations are pretty, are high for this Lower Cape May basketball team, which is pretty exciting. And as Brian said, there's no seniors involved, but Archie, with yourself and your ability, what you did on the football field, and Jacob, you guys and the freshman Braswell Thomas, you got some very talented, very athletic, tough kids I should say you guys are becoming young men, but it's kind of neat to watch. And now it's time to step up on the basketball court.
Yeah, so this football season, it was a long season, but I think we're all happy with the way it went. And I actually think it's going to help us this year because, like myself, I gained 20 pounds training for football in the off season, and I really think that's going to help this year. Same with Jacob, same with Brad, same with everyone that played football. We all got stronger and became better athletes, and I think that's a huge part of the basketball game. It's going to help us.
Scott, you have. We're seeing around the area a lot of these teams, both the boys and girls side, have to replace a lot of scoring. You don't have to do that. You have 3 kids sitting here that average double figures. Another kid sitting back there, and Mike Cronin that had his moments behind the 3-point line for you last year. It's got to help to have some proven scorers, kids that know how to put the ball in the basket at the varsity level.
Oh, absolutely, and. We're looking for, and you bring up Cronin with his shooting and things like that. We need Mike to develop into the guy that fills the stat sheet, very much like Jordan Pierce did. And these 3 guys to continue, and of course Braswell and Ari, Ogre, and I'm looking at other guys that we need to fill a pretty big void in Jordan Pierce. Jordan might not have been the biggest scorer, but he certainly was a little jack of all trades for us, and it was a very comfortable, decent leader for this team.
Not only do you have the conference schedule that you have, but you're challenging yourself out of league. I know you just picked up a game with St. Augustine Prep on Saturday night. You're going to play, I believe, Southern Regional in the Seagull Classic. You're really taking the step up here with your schedule.
Yeah, the idea is I want these guys, and I've been harping on it. My vision is to really go. Really, we'll play anyone mentality with the idea that we're going to learn from it, win, lose, or draw. Not that there's draws, but that we're going to learn from it, and it'll help us towards the next game. And the goal is to get us to a certain point by the end of the year to compete for a lot of different things, and then also to move into next year with even maybe a tougher schedule.
What your thoughts on this opener with EHT? Obviously, they've had 2 years ago, kind of a Cinderella run in the Group 4 tournament as a 15 seed, and then last year they were one of the better teams in the Cape, and they have a lot of kids back. So what are the challenges of that game opening night?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to have that as a first game, it's one of those things that if we had a pinup board in the locker room, that would be there. We don't really have a pinup board, but but I'm constantly harping on it. Maybe I should get a pinup board, but. It's just one of those things like, hey, I do believe that they're one of the best Group 4 teams in South Jersey, and why not?
Speak about, what you have on your bench here. You have 2 former longtime head boys basketball coaches. You have Champ McGaffney, who's here and coached at Lower and Wildwood Catholic, and Rocco Sansone coached at Wildwood.
And Wildwood Catholic.
Yeah. We need a half-hour show just to tell those stories from back when those 2 were running together. But to have that kind of experience, I mean, even in a game situation, but even in practice, to be able to bounce stuff off of those guys and have that behind you on the bench.
It's great. When the situation happened when my brother took over the girls' game, I called Mr. McGaffney up right away, and basically, it was a situation where here's a guy that has the time, he has relatives playing in the program, both at the Titleman level and the high school level. He's a guy to learn from. I like to say that I'm a sponge as a coach, and I like to have the players have different perspectives, and I think it's going great. And of course with Rocco, he's the ultimate bad cop, good cop guy. So I will always say I think the staff at Lower is excellent, and it continues to be so.
All right, so we appreciate you guys coming here and being a part of the show. And go ahead, bud.
And I will have to say, with Archie Lawler here sitting next to me, he became one of my favorite football players to watch. He did everything, defensively, offensively. I mean, this guy was just incredible. So we're expecting big things on the hardwood, all right?
Yeah, so big things from Archie and all these guys here from Lower Cape May. We wish you luck on the season, and especially in that opener on Friday against EHT. So Lower Cape May boys 8-5 last year, and they'll look to compete in a very, very difficult Cape Atlantic League United Conference this year. Thanks for coming on, guys. We appreciate it. All right, so we will move along, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back, and we will move into the Cape May Tech portion of our show. We'll have the girls and boys on coming up after the break here. This is the high school boys and girls basketball preview show live from the Mud Hen Brewery in Wildwood, coastsportstoday.com and 98.7 The Coast. We'll be right back. County Boys and Girls High School basketball preview show on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. I'm Brian Cunniff alongside Buddy Tarbotton, and now we get into our segment with Cape May Tech. We'll first go with the girls, and we have head coach Amber Waddington, assistant coach Jackie Schmucker, and senior point guard Izzy Schmucker joining us tonight here at the Mud Hen. So we thank you guys for being here first. And first question I want to ask you, Amber, is, and we kind of broached this a little bit with Lower Cape May. COVID was tough enough. And then when they made those divisions last year, you and Lower Cape May didn't get any breaks. You were in one of probably the most difficult divisions in South Jersey. So now you're in a division where it's probably a little more manageable and you can compete. You got to be looking forward to that.
Yeah, last year was tough, like you said, among the competition as well. Like we went up against, Middle, Catholic, Atlantic City, Mainland, Ocean City. Like it was, last year to me was a return to play type of thing.
Right.
Or it was a mental thing to get the kids back involved, to get them, playing in something to have some sort of normality. And to play against teams like that, it was tough. Every night to go into their gyms or vice versa, them come to us and have to battle with those teams. But on the flip side, I think we grew. I think we learned a lot. I think defensively, I think even offensively. Like I'm in a position where I graduated one kid, and all of my starters and players have returned. So I think we're going to be able to build on that strength of last year on to going into a more competitive schedule this year.
We're seeing with a lot of the local teams here have to replace big scorers. And you're in a situation where you have a real good scorer coming back in Kennedy Campbell. She averaged 12.5 points and almost 10 rebounds a game last year. So, you got to feel real good to have that kind of a kid back in your program this year.
Absolutely. She was a very big contributor last year. Even from being a freshman moving forward, both Izzy and Kennedy, their freshman year, they jumped right into it. They got playing time. They flip-flopped starting positions going all through their freshman year. And I think they both have grown tremendously. I think this year, even last year, they kind of all were a little equal. Between Alex Garcia, Izzy, and Kennedy, they are my three scorers, and I think they're probably going to all three see them averaging about 10 points a game.
Let's go to Jackie real quick, an assistant coach, and this is a trend we're seeing a lot around here, buddy, and it's really neat to see. Obviously, Amber's done it as a head coach here, but people that have played in their programs and then they end up back helping and coaching as an assistant or as a head coach. So, Jackie, to be back helping at your alma mater and being in the gym now as a coach, what's it like?
I think it's pretty cool. I graduated 5-ish years ago, and I played a year of college basketball and, got a new experience up there, saw some new, talent and new ways to play. So it's kind of nice to come back and, know the conference and know the teams we're playing against and kind of use some knowledge that I gained and some previous knowledge I have and kind of pull it all together.
Okay, so let's go to Izzy here. We'll let you speak for a moment. Going off of what Coach Amber said, to have so many of your teammates back after a tough season last year against a really hard schedule, and to maybe have a little bit of an easier, more competitive schedule for you, and hopefully to have a full season and to have so many teammates back. How excited are you to get started?
I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited. We have a good majority of our team coming back, and we've all been playing together for the past 3 or 4 years and just building our team up. So I'm really excited for this year.
Izzy, talk a little bit about it. Obviously, playing that guard position, that's one of the most important positions on the floor. One, obviously bringing the ball up, getting the offense set up, distributing the ball, but you're also, the team's second lead scorer. And this year, as a senior, you're going to be looked to score a little bit more, to pick up, to pick that up, and hopefully get the team, to that next level. Talk a little bit about that.
I think with that position, I kind of share the position with Alex Garcia. She's kind of like my, wingman on the floor. So I look for her mostly to kind of bring it all together and help me out with like the leadership and everything, especially all the senior girls, kind of to like. Our team is like mostly seniors and then freshmen, and we only have a few juniors. So I'm like kind of have to all of us upperclassmen bring up the younger girls and help them out with the whole environment, I guess.
Amber, the opener on Friday at Cedar Creek. What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's going to be, a very competitive game. We scrimmaged them, I believe, last year. We typically play them either once a year or scrimmage them when they weren't in our league. We kind of used them as like a crossover game. I think Jess is doing a very, good job with that. Program's becoming a lot stronger than it's been like in the last couple years.
Right.
She runs a lot of camps. She does a lot of things with that school. I think it's going to be a very good game. I think it's going to be competitive as heck, and I think we're going to, hopefully walk out of there with the win. I think we can. But I also think it's going to be a very good eye-opener for us, too, to be able to see what we have to fine-tune moving on, because after that, we play Holy Spirit. That's a very tough game as well. But then we go into the Boardwalk Classic, and that's a bracket that, I really think we can take again. So I'm excited for it.
Let's talk about this division that you're in.
Yep.
And there's some good teams in that division, but this is not what you faced last year. You got to feel better about your chances to compete, and so people know, Cape May Tech's in the National Conference this year. The other teams are Atlantic Tech, better known as ACIT, Cedar Creek, Holy Spirit, Ocean City, Pleasantville, and Vineland. You got to feel better about having to play those teams twice as compared to what you had to play twice last year.
Oh, absolutely. And I think confidence-wise, I think walking into the gym, will be a big difference for the girls themselves, because, it's tough walking into the schedule we did last year. You can coach those kids, you can believe in them as much as you can, but ultimately a lot of them had already had in their head that, well, we're walking into a loss, and you can mentally try to battle with that as much as you can and help them believe in themselves, but that was a tough schedule.
Sure.
And I think walking into this schedule, I tell them almost every day, I expect us to at least be at 500 by the end of the season, and it's very possible. I would love to go and get that first playoff game, because I think, especially with the group that I have, the returning kids, the type of not just like players that I have, but smart on the floor, I think that we have a very good chance of playing at that first playoff game.
And Amber, talk a little about, are the girls, are they buying into that? Like, is the confidence? Obviously, we talk about that, with a couple talking about it with Pat Holden, with his girls. I mean, they have to buy into and get their confidence level up and believe in themselves, believe in what you're telling them, teaching them, and knowing that if they do, what's put here before them, they can be successful.
I think, again, like Brian said, I was a player in the system. I coached assistant. Now I'm head coach. I'm staying with Jackie. I think the culture of the team has changed. I think the way the girls look at themselves and the way they hold their head has changed. I've seen it as a coach, as a player. I think that they really do buy in. They hang on to almost every word that I say. There's never a time that I stop the clock, that I blow a whistle, that I even open my mouth, that I don't have a set of 15 eyes staring directly at me. There's nobody having side conversation. That, they are all in. And I think a lot of these kids, they came in as freshmen when there was Eliza, there was Emily, there was all those kids that they played with and played under, and I think they saw the embodiment that they had, and I think it has just grown, even more from that. Like, this is a close-knit group. I think they have very good chemistry, and I think that they have bought in. I think especially last year, I really had to, it was more of a compassionate year for me, competitive-wise, we competed. We gave Middletown the second period that we played them at their place. They had kids on the floor. What are they in, man? Matchup zone? They couldn't figure out what offense to run because of the defense we were in. Atlantic City, we gave them a tough half. So the talent is there, and I think that they really do. they really do believe and know that they're capable.
All right, ladies, we thank you for joining us, and we really appreciate it. Hopefully it's a full season, and just go out there and enjoy it and do the best you can. So Cape May Tech head coach Amber Waddington, assistant coach Jackie Schmucker, and senior point guard Izzy Schmucker, thank you for coming, and best of luck over the course of this coming season.
All right, thank you. You guys too.
Okay. All right, now we're going to transition. We're actually going to keep it right here. We're going to transition right to the boys from Cape May Tech, and we'll bring Sam Pickett's the head coach on. This is the high school boys and girls basketball Cape May County preview show here live at the Mud Hen Brewery. We're here till 7 o'clock if you want to stop by. We got a nice crowd here, and we're bringing in Sam Pickett's, the head boys coach from Cape May Tech. We appreciate you coming on, Sam, and thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
All right.
Appreciate what you guys do here for the community, for the players, for the schools.
Thank you. You've got some kids back, and you've got one of the better ones in the Cape Atlantic League, and Dylan Del Vecchio. And there's kind of a running joke around the area that because Dylan was so successful even as a freshman, there's people that think that he's been in high school for 7 or 8 years now. I tell people ask me, what do you think of this team? And I say, well, Tech's got Del Vecchio, and people will say, he's still in school? Well, and he's a special player, and pretty sure coming up on 1,000 points. So
yeah, he's approaching it. Should be early in the season. It's funny you mentioned the 7 or 8 years thing. I know prior to being here, when I was at Bridgeton, I got a chance to coach against him.
Right.
And I thought to myself, even then, I was like, okay, that kid's a junior. Next time we see him, we probably won't be there. And then, fortunate enough for me, in our transition, he's still there for me.
Talk about him as a player, because obviously he's a special one, certainly one of the best that Cape May Tech's had in the history of the program.
There's no doubt, and first and foremost, aside from just what he's able to do on the court, a lot of the young men that I've been around, he's one of the hardest working kids. Every day, he's always looking to get better. He's always pushing himself in the weight room. He's a really good teammate. He tries to help out the young kids. He's very much a team-first type of player, and he's really the standard for which we're trying to put forth at Tech.
Got a couple returning starters along with him. Patrick Bean, who played as a freshman. Joel Hutchinson is a senior now. Talk about these kids, and I know you obviously you didn't play a full season last year, just 9 games, but kids that have a little bit of experience in their back pocket coming back.
Yeah, and I think for us as a program, it's one thing that we haven't had. This will be my 3rd year in the program. I was a JV coach prior to taking over last year. This will be the first time we've returned more than one starter.
Right.
This year we actually get a chance to bring back Joel, who's another, big guy down low, but he's got some skills with the ball. And and Pat's also put in a ton of work in the offseason to get himself to be ready for the rigors of a full high school season. But we also have another, I think, 5 guys that had some varsity experience from last year. So we're looking to build on that, albeit it was only 10 games.
Now, one of the things that one of the things that you're going to have to I know you're going to have to battle is that you probably may not have that prototypical high school point guard in your program right now. So how do you try to, work around that with trying to, I guess, handle the ball and initiate offense via committee almost?
Well, we're fortunate enough that we're based on really matchups. Dylan, although he's a big, strong kid that in most programs would probably be a 4 or a 5, he can handle the ball.
Right.
And, there's times where he'll do that for us. We're fortunate enough that, Pat Bean has worked really hard at handling the ball. We've got another, few younger guys that are there that are also willing to, take on, the pressure of that. And we know that's one of the things that we've stressed since the end of last season, just about us being able to handle pressure and limiting our turnovers.
Right.
And talk a little bit, Coach, about, we all know Dylan DeVecchio. Like Brian said, he's an impact player. He's a playmaker. He can do things that make your jaw drop when you're watching him play. Who are you looking to help him out as far as putting the ball in the basket?
Ultimately, it's really a team thing. My philosophy has always been, the open guy is going to get the ball. If we play the right way, the guy who should get the ball will get the ball. Certainly Dylan is going to attract a lot of attention, and our guys understand that. And, they're willing to do whatever it takes, in the course of a game, to do what we got to do. I mean, I think, I know that every coach likes to believe in their team, and I think we'll surprise some guys with, their willingness to step up and compete.
Sam, interesting opening game. We'll have the game on 98.7 The Coast with live video on coastsportstoday.com.
Oh, really? I hadn't noticed. Who do we play?
Yeah, well, that's what I was getting at. You've kind of developed a nice little rivalry with Middle, and I always say this, rivalries really don't happen until each team starts to win. And for a long time, Cape May Tech had trouble breaking through against Middle, and now a couple times over the last 3 or 4 seasons, you've been able to pick them off. I know it's got to be a big game for your kids, and to get it right out of the gate, it's got to be exciting for the program.
It's unbelievable. For the Cape Atlantic League, I think it's great. It's kind of like a Duke UNC thing because of the proximity. The schools are so close.
Yep.
A lot of the kids know each other. They've played together, growing up. It's a Friday night.
Mm-hmm.
You can't beat that type of atmosphere. Hopefully we'll get a chance to, pack our gym as much as we can and bring some good energy. And to be honest, it's also a great thing for us that we get a chance to, coach against someone with the history that Lamar's had in the Cape Atlantic League.
Talk about where your program is now at Cape May Tech. Buddy and I were around when, they didn't even pull the bleachers out of the one side because there just wasn't support. I think, I say this all the time, even though we were always busting his chops, I don't think Bobby Ridgway gets enough credit for advancing that program. And then Josh came in, you've continued it. It seems like you're building a little community around your program where there's people that come and support you. You're getting better student. Participation at your games as fans. Just talk about where the program is, and it was almost like, I guess in the beginning stages, it was like this outsider trying to get a seat at the table or a spot at the party, and now it's like you're a legitimate program in the Cape Atlantic League.
Yeah, and I think it's a testament to the coaches that came before me. I know as the smallest public school in the Cape Atlantic League, we're always going to be fighting uphill.
Mm-hmm.
We're always going to be struggling in some sense because we just have less students.
Right.
And I think that the coaches that have come before me, the things I've tried to continue is just, that workman-like, just mentality that we're just going to go out there, we're going to look to improve every day, we're going to work hard, we're going to take what we can and look to compete, and not just step out on the floor and think like, hey, that's a Group 4 school or that's a Group 3 school. Our goal, and I've stressed to our guys in the past too, is, especially this year, is we want to be playing our best basketball at the end of February.
Right.
And that's our goal, and that's where our program, I think, is heading, and I think a lot of people recognize that and do kind of support, going about things the right way.
Coach, when we talk about to get people to come back after they come in and watch, the kids got to play hard. It's not necessarily about always winning, but it's about how hard they play, the respect that they show for the game. And I think that's something that's very important. And I think, as Brian said, going back to Bobby Ridgway, then what Josh was able to, to carry on, and now with what you're doing there, how important is that to convey to the kids?
Well, the one thing that's actually kind of interesting is that, although, Coach Mercado is no longer, part of the coaching staff, he's no longer the head coach, he and I teach together every day. It's a friendship that's developed over the last couple of years. I got a chance to serve as his assistant. I've actually known him for quite a long time, and we share the same values. And at the end of the day, we want to be able to help produce, young men that are valuable contributors to our community, to our society, and have our guys go out there and do things the right way. We're not going to win every game. Newsflash, we're not going to go undefeated this year.
Right.
But, at the end of the day, I know that if we work hard, we can compete with a lot of schools. I know that, a couple times in the past, I know that Cape May Tech has actually had some pretty impressive, upsets of some local powers. I also think it helps when you have a couple really good players that also helps bring some people to the gym.
Absolutely.
We have guys like Josh Wright and Dylan.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, Sam, we appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you, gentlemen.
As Cape May Tech's boys coach, Sam Pickett's, we wish them the best of luck this season. They open on Friday at home against Middle, and we'll have the game on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. We'll take a quick break, and we'll be back. We'll have the Wildwood programs coming up after this break. We'll be right back live from the Mud Hen on 98.7 The Coast. Live at the Mud Hen Brewery in Wildwood. Brian Cunniff with Buddy Tarbotton, the high school basketball preview show here on 98.7 The Coast and CoastSportsToday.com. And we got this started at 4, and we've run through every school in the county, and we finished with Wildwood. And we'll first have the girls team on here, and then we'll bring the boys team on. And I know this is always a little awkward. I always try to stay out of this stuff, but it's always a little awkward interviewing someone you share a home with. So this is head coach Teresa Cunniff with her 3 seniors, Amen Fatih, Emily Little, and Ava Troiano. And we won't mention who, but we had to tell Norm back at the studio, make sure we have that delay on, in case for language. But no, we'll be fine here. So let's start here, and buddy, you can handle this part. I'm not fond of this part, so go ahead. You got it. You got it with the coach.
You got it. Coach, talk about what the preseason, what it's been like. You know, obviously, I'm looking forward to. We're getting some normalcy back. You know, after going through last year with the COVID stuff and whatnot. And how are the girls? How's the team responding?
Okay. So we have good numbers this year. We have 14 kids come out, which I'm ecstatic about. They've been coming to practice ready, working hard, and we're excited for the season. We played the full schedule last year. We were very fortunate. We played 15 games, and we got through all of them. So we're really excited about playing a full schedule, 26 games, some shootout games, and I think the kids are really excited about that, so, I mean, we're working hard,
So, and obviously you're sitting here with the three seniors and one in particular that has played almost all 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
Talk a little bit about the leadership and, what you expect them to bring out to the table.
Okay, well, obviously we have Amen and Ava that played from freshman year until their senior years. Amen is like a floor general out there. She's really stepped up her game in practice and in the scrimmages. She's scoring points. She's getting the ball to players. She's doing well. Ava came in. She's playing more and more. She's starting this year, and she works hard and she leads by example sometimes. Of playing hard. Emily Little played when she was a freshman, took a couple years off and came back to us as a senior, and we're really excited to have her because, generally our teams are always vertically challenged. We never have anybody, above 5'7", 5'8". So this year we have Emily Little at 6'2", and Sanaya Stroman Hills 5'11". So I'm excited to play, the inside-outside game. And I'm excited.
All right, so Amen, let's talk to you for a second here. Not getting the full season last year, and I'm sure you had to watch the seniors that you did have last year. That had to be bad for everybody, but even worse for the seniors. How much are you looking forward to, hopefully getting a full season and playing your normal schedule and going from there?
I'm really excited about this year. We're all going to take advantage of actually getting a normal season. We have really good players, and
Ava, what do you like about your team, and what do you think of your team's chances to compete against the schedule you have?
I'm glad we have some height on our team this year with Emily coming back, and even Macy McCracken as a freshman. She's a really good player, and I think we're going to be good. We have good shooters, so.
Emily, you, as everyone's alluded to here, you took a couple years off, and now you're back as a senior. How exciting is it for you to be back on the floor here?
It's actually extremely exciting. It's like a family. It's like the best thing ever. I feel like taking the 2 years off was like what I needed, but I mean, sometimes I beat myself up about it for not being there. But I'm really glad to be back, and I'm excited for my last year to be here.
Okay, so the opener is Friday, at Pensgrove. You guys are used to these long bus trips. That's a particularly long one. I think there might be a layover involved in that trip, but the Pensgrove, I'm not sure, but and they play that unique style where they try to go up and down. You have a team that you think can go up and down with a lot of people too. So what do you think about the opening match up there with Pensgrove?
Well, Pensgroves are always scrappy, and they try to run, but I think this year we're way more experienced. We're going to run the floor. We're going to play killer defense, and just do what we want on the court.
What about you? You have it's some of these kids that aren't obviously. Emily's going to be a factor in the paint around the rim. But you have some of the kids that aren't here that are some of these kids that are really going to let you go out and run. With Maya Benachua Jr., the two sophomores in Kalia Sumlin and Sanaya Stroman Hills, and then of course the best soccer player in the school, Cadence Oakley. To have this kind of athleticism on your team, to be able to pressure people and get out and run. A lot of coaches talk about how important it is in girls basketball to get your opportunities to get easy baskets, and I would imagine that your ability to maybe turn people over and run should help you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. Our defense is going to be our number one priority this year. We're teaching Emily and Sanaya, you rebound, you get a quick outlet, and we're down the court. We're getting layups, easy layups. Our defense is going to dictate how many points we score this year.
Now, and another thing, the last couple of years, you've been a pretty good perimeter shooting team. Especially from beyond the arc. Is there the expectations that that's going to continue?
Oh, that's going to continue because we have a phenom with Macy McCracken. She could light it up along with Amen Fate. And then the big girls inside is going to allow us to dump it down and kick it back out. It's the highest percentage shot on the court when it goes from inside to outside, and I think we have a big advantage this year with these kids. I'm excited. And we also have Sophie Wilbur. She's going to be a vital part, She can play defense and she can get down the court, All
right, so this has been the Wildwood Girls, and we wish them the best of luck this season. We hope, ladies, that you get your full 26 games in and maybe a nice state tournament run in Group 1. So
that would be awesome.
So, we wish you guys the best of luck. Thanks for stopping by the Mud Hen here.
Thank you guys for having us.
Okay, so we will continue. We'll take a break, and then we'll come back. And this will be our final break. We'll come back and talk to Wildwood boys coach Scott Holden, and I think he's got a couple of players. Scott McCracken. Scott Holden we talked to already. So, Scott McCracken from Wildwood will be here on the air next, and we'll have a couple players from the boys team as well as we come back and wrap it up a bit here at the Mud Hen. This is the Cape May County Boys and Girls High School Basketball Preview, live from the Mud Hen Brewery in Wildwood. CoastSportsToday.com and 98.7 The Coast. We'll be right back. Wildwood, Brian Cunniff, Buddy Tarbotton, Chris Knoll on the live video stream, and it's our last segment of the evening as we have members of the Wildwood Boys program here, head coach Scott McCracken, and some of the players are here. We have Junior Hans, and we have like 13 Troyanos with us. So we have we have Ernie and Dom, who are brothers, and their cousin Ryan here as well. So and we appreciate them coming on. And Scott, we'll start with you. Let's first rehash a little bit from last year. So many people struggled with last season with the COVID, and you guys, it could not have been gone better for you in terms of what you got out of it to go 14-1 and win the first ever Tri-County Classic or Tri-County Conference tournament. Lost your opener by 2 points and then won the rest of the games. As shortened as it was and as weird as it was, it had to actually be rewarding.
It was a good season, obviously, for Wildwood basketball, a good season for the kids on the team. We kept it together after losing the first game by 2, but we had a lot of leadership last year, a lot of good players, and fortunately we didn't have any problems with the COVID. We kept our season rolling. Tri-County, the tournament, finally, we were talking about that for several years. They put the tournament in place, and for us it was a good opportunity to show how good we were.
Now the challenge you have this year is you have lost a lot of scoring, rebounding, and athleticism from last year's team. You have Ernie and Junior that both started last year for you back. Dom played a little bit of varsity. So, what's the transition like to this new team?
So the transition to the new team is, again, having the 2 starters back, but having solid senior leadership. Dom and Ernie are tough kids. Been with the program both 4 years. Have done a good job for us. It's Dom's chance to really step up. Ernie needs to step it up a little bit with scoring, which he will. We didn't really need him to score, but this year he will score. And of course, Junior is part of the future plans for our program, so he'll have to score a little bit as well. And Ryan Triano, who's another guy that we brought, he's a young kid that can actually put the ball in the basket and does a good job. So we need to do a lot of things like that to be good.
And Coach, talking about what Brian just hit on, and doing quickly doing the math, you lost 3 players that were responsible for 57 points per game.
Sure, we had 3 good
He's
scorers.
had nightmares since March about that.
I'm glad you brought that up to me, so it's a good point. But, I knew that we lost some scoring clearly, but these kids, last year, Ernie wasn't necessarily, he didn't need to score for us. He really defended, did a good job handling the ball. This year, I need these guys really to step up, including Dom, which they will. It's part of the program. It's part of what we've been doing over the last 4 years, these guys together. And Junior, we're trying to create a culture and become a solid program, and I think we've done a good job of doing that. These kids will step up and be ready to go.
Dom, let's start with you here. The Tri-County Classic division has never really been known for having a lot of big men, but you're going to have to play power forward / center a little undersized at 6'1", 6'2". So what's the challenge there for you?
The other teams we're playing against past years have had 1 or 2 bigger guys. So to me, I just know I got to be physical, try and outplay them, physically.
Junior, let's go to you next. You have you're the one guy you're the leading returning scorer. Averaged about 9 a game last year. You're most likely getting a lot more shots this year. How do you see your role changing, increasing, or whatever?
I just see my role as really handling the ball more this year than I did last year, and just, bringing the team together this year will be a challenge for us this year because we lost a lot of good talent and athleticism, like you said, but I think we'll be good.
And Ernie, to be back as this is your 3rd year as a starter now. I know as a sophomore you got into the starting lineup toward the end of the year. What's it like now to be a senior and be that guy that everybody? And this is a young program. You have 3 seniors, 1 junior, and then it's really young after that. So what's it like being in that leadership role now?
I really want to show these younger guys what Wildwood basketball is really all about. We've had good successful years, my 3 years being here, and I want to continue that, and I want to show these younger guys, what it's like to win and be good.
Well, let's go to Ryan here and let's let him speak to the Troiano legacy, so to speak. Grandfather played in the late '60s, and your dad and your uncle and your aunt were part of some good teams at Wildwood, and now you and your cousins are involved. I mean, what's it like with your family having gone through this school and gone through this athletic program, and now you're a part of it?
I mean, it's cool how our bloodline has run through the school, and we try to follow their footsteps, but we're just trying to keep things going and keep being great.
As a matter of fact, your grandfather, he played when there was peach baskets.
Yeah.
There weren't actually iron rims yet. But yeah, so you're talking, there is a lot of history there.
His grandfather actually played in the first Wildwood Catholic game. Remember when they used to play each other?
Yeah.
That's a story for a different time.
Hopefully that's going to happen.
We'll see. Scott, you have this opener against Pensgrove on Friday at home, and obviously each season's different, but that's the one team that beat you last year. So, especially the guys that played last year, you got to be looking forward to this opener.
We really are looking forward to getting to Pensgrove at home. Of course, we thought we were going to bump into them in the playoffs last year, which we were looking forward to. Didn't play well in the opener, but now we get them at our place. It's always difficult to play in Wildwood. They get on the long bus ride. Our team will be excited and fired up. And, I've said this for years. The Troiano boys are the toughest kids in the Tri-County. I mean, and it speaks volumes for Wildwood basketball, and I expect these kids to step up. And really, that's why I'm leaning on these two for us really to be successful.
And I would watch how you say the Troiano boys. I think there's a Troiano girl who might say she's a little tougher than that.
That is true. That is true. She's probably
listen,
tougher
to
than
grow up in that house, you better be tough. Scott, you just touched on it, but what are the challenges? We've talked about this ad nauseum, but the challenges of playing in the Tri-County with the long bus rides. There are times where we've seen it over the years. You'll go on the road and lose by double digits to somebody, and you'll say to me, I think we can get them at home. And a lot of times you do. And it's a challenge to have that hour and a half bus ride sometimes and step off and try to play a game. What do you try to do to try to help mitigate that and make the best out of those long bus rides?
The bus rides are tough, and every one of the kids would say the same thing. But we try to keep the kids, relaxing on the way up, and then probably like 30 minutes before we try to get them up, try to get them prepared and get them mentally thinking about the game. Of course, we have the JV game first. But, Brian, it's tough when you're coming off cold. You're sitting on the bench or you're sitting there watching in a different gym. The other teams are ready for you. Same thing when they come down to Wildwood. And a lot of times we do get those teams. To get it, if we lose, happen to drop on the road, when they come to Wildwood, we can win those games. The home court advantage, as you know.
Well, one of I think probably the only downer about you winning that Tri-County Conference tournament last year was that not a lot of people got to see it. In the gym. I know you got to be happy with that. The home court advantage that Wildwood gets. Buddy and I talk about this all the time. There is not a gym in South Jersey that has better acoustics when it's filled. And when you get fans in there and they get behind the team, what's it like to be on the sidelines and experience that, and for the kids on the court?
Yeah, it's a great place to coach. It's a great place to play, clearly. I like the kids to get that atmosphere. But a lot of times when we play home games or playoff games, the doubleheaders are phenomenal. As you know, my daughter's going to be on the girls, your wife's team this year. So we will have a couple doubleheaders. But anytime we can pack that gym, it's a great experience for the kids, the coaching staff, and everybody. It's an exciting place to play.
Now, Scott, we know who we expect is going to be like the impact players for you guys, for the boys team. Who is maybe a sleeper, or who you looking to see, maybe come in off the bench and give you guys some energy some positive things?
Sure. We have some good sophomores, and Harley is one of the kids that's going to come off the bench for us and came in the other night in the middle scrimmage and hit 2 3-pointers. Ryan Triano is freshly going to be a new starter for us, and Ryan, I expect him to do big things. We have Jordan is a new kid that transferred to us. We got him this summer. It's his first year at Wild. He's a sophomore, and he can actually shoot the basketball, and he comes in with some energy. So we'll have a lot of that things. And, of course, my senior leaders got to step up. Dom and Ernie got to play big for me each and every night. Josh is another kid that is going to be a starter for us. So those kids need to play well, and Junior needs to shoot and get good looks.
I don't want to keep pointing out the obvious, but obviously the rebounding also. Those 3 guys we had just talked about that graduated.
Sure.
They grabbed 24 rebounds a game as well.
We're aware of the we know all about the scoring, and we know all about the rebounding. Believe me when I tell you. We collectively we've talked several times. We talk about it in a huddle. We talk about it at the practice. I need 5 guys boxing out. The bottom line is if you box out, somebody's going to go over your back. I mean, Ryan's an official. He knows that. So if we do the right things on the court, we'll get rebounds and we'll erase some of those big numbers, those gaudy numbers on the rebounds. I expect Dom to get double digits each and every game.
Scott, you've gotten the program to the point where I think a lot of coaches like it to be in that a lot of people might look at this and say, okay, they lost all that, it's a rebuilding year. But you probably feel like you've gotten the program to the point where we don't really rebuild, it's next man up, and I know you think you can compete in your division this year.
Sure. I mean, my opinion is, talking about what we did last year, it was great, and we're excited that we're in that position and the program did well. But we talk about building program, we talk about Wildwood basketball, and Ernie said it right, and Junior knows, and Ryan knows. It's the next guy up and the next guy and the next guy up. So we expect to be good, and we expect to be good this year, we expect to be good next year, and we feel like we've built a program.
All right, Scott McCracken with 4 of his players, Ernie Triano, Dom Triano, Junior Hans, Ryan Triano. We appreciate you guys coming on, and good luck in the opener on Friday against Pennsgrove.
And I'm sorry, but I'd be remiss if I didn't comment on Dom and Ryan and their hairdos. I mean, you guys are really...
It's an interesting look, isn't it? It's an interesting look.
It's very interesting. You guys are looking like those... some sort of actors, you know what I mean?
We're thinking about for the holidays just getting the clippers out at practice and trimming it up. A little trim job.
Yeah,
just trimming it up.
It would be more than a little.
Good point. And we want to say thank you to you guys. Thanks for covering. Certainly, thanks for covering on the coast. Thanks for covering all the sports and certainly covering Wildwood basketball. And you guys do a great job with all the teams. So we certainly appreciate it.
Thank you. All right, so that's the Wildwood boys. We appreciate you guys coming on, and good luck in the opener on Friday against Pennsgrove. All right, so that's it's been a fun 3 hours here doing this high school basketball preview show, and we thank Chris Knoll for handling the live video stream, Norm Donahue back at the studio pushing all the right buttons, and Mary Pat and all the great people here at the Mud Hen that set us up here at the balcony level, and we thank everybody coming by here at the Mud Hen. So it gives us a chance to, as we finish up here, buddy, maybe talk about our broadcast schedule a little bit. And what I'm really excited about is we have 4 games right off the bat before Christmas, all local rivalry games. So we have Middle Township and Cape May Tech on Friday. That's a 5:30 start. And then next week, 3 successive days, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. On Tuesday, it's Middle Township traveling to Wildwood Catholic. On Wednesday, it's Wildwood out at Cape May Tech. And then on Thursday, it's Middle Township at Lower Cape May. So we basically get all 5 of the schools that we regularly cover, and we do have a couple of Ocean City games on later in the year, but the 5 schools that we regularly cover, we got them on right off the bat out of the first 4 games. And it's going to be a really, really exciting start to the season locally for basketball.
Absolutely. And, you talk about, as you just said, right from the jump, we're coming out with a very aggressive basketball schedule, and the beauty of it is all rivalry games.
Right.
So it's almost, I feel like we're doing that that big ESPN rivalry week.
Well, and for us, it almost feels like a taste of the state tournament, where it's next week or that second week there, it's going to be a game every night, 3 nights in a row. We're used to that from the state tournament. Sometimes doing games, 6 days in a row, 7 out of 8 days. It can get crazy, but we enjoy it. And then, of course, we're going to come right back after that, and we could potentially be doing 4 games in 4 days at the Boardwalk Basketball Classic as well.
Sometimes it's 2 games in one day.
Right? If there's a doubleheader involved. So, we're really looking forward to it. And here's the thing too, and we really do appreciate it. We get a lot of people compliment us about about what we do, and what we do is not possible without 2 things. Number one, we have people back at 98.7 The Coast with the vision to understand how important high school sports are to the community. With what we broadcast, with what we're able to cover on coastsportstoday.com. And then number 2, and most importantly, is the sponsorship that's involved. That the community comes out, and we understand that you might not necessarily be getting an awful lot of new business based on advertising on a high school basketball game, but what you're showing is your support for the community and your support for kids. And without those sponsors, none of this happens. Last year was a little bit of a down year with COVID. Businesses were struggling. We had to do a little bit of a smaller schedule. Obviously, there were less games, but this year everybody stepped up. We are back to a 21 game, as many as 21 games in the regular season. That's the most we will have done in years. Hopefully, we get to do them all. With the COVID going on, there probably will be shutdowns at some point, but it is really exciting. You and I, we say this all the time. We do enjoy football, but for us, this is really, right in our wheelhouse. This is what we enjoy the most, and it's so exciting to get started with a high school basketball season. What I'm excited about for this season, buddy, is that we have a lot of local rivalry games this year on the air, and I think they're going to be very, very competitive games.
Well, and Brian, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. This year, the beauty of it is there is no out-and-out dominant team.
Exactly.
This right now in Cape May County, it's anybody's. We're called the Big Six. It's anybody's, ability, or any team can be that top dog. And I think that is a beautiful thing. And you know what? It's the best price. If you're not doing anything, you need something to do, $3 you can get out. Senior citizen discount, $2 to go see a high school basketball game. And it's a great way to fill time at night, and especially like during the week. And there's nothing like that atmosphere, and I agree with you. I'm really looking forward. We're very, very fortunate. We appreciate the people that do come up to us, away from the gym and thank us, for what we do. But we do what we do because we love what we do. And guess what? As Brian will say, and I say, it's always about the kids.
Yes, it is, and we will enjoy following those kids again. Our opener on 98.7 The Coast is Friday, Middle Township and Cape May Tech. We thank everyone who made this possible. The sponsors, Chris Knoll, the MVP of the broadcast here, Norm Donahue, the secondary MVP, and all the coaches and players that joined us, and we thank the great people at the Mud Hen. This was really enjoyable. Second time in 3 years we've done this. We hope to make it an annual event. That'll do it for the Cape May County High School boys and girls basketball preview live from the Mud Hen Brewery. For my partner, Buddy Tarbotton, I'm Brian Cunniff.